February 24th, 3:12 p.m. Wright & Co. law offices.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. For what my sister said.
Just a crime, sir. Quite just. It's just the way it is. We did what we had to. In order for him to get what the verdict he deserved.
I didn't know. I never knew that.
The SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Doc killing. Sounds like everyone is getting further than me. Nana wanted Doc convicted so badly, that's why she used me. So she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? So there in the file. Doc's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left it behind an incriminating piece of evidence. What do you have with those to do with those killings, sir? On the night prosecutor Neil Marshall's Doc tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother Neil was trying to save me. So that means you. Yes, I was a witness to the Joe Doc trial. Didn't see that coming. Also 9 inches. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was already a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into my office. Joe Doc. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. He screamed, I didn't know what was going on. He said, "Get on the floor, everybody get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur." Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Doc tried to take me hostage. For good, Mr. Marshall tackled him. And what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. And suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for a minute. When I saw that and burned a permanent picture into my mind, I can still see it now. I remember the moment when Doc stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana, why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted the guilty verdict so badly, Lana forged the evidence, and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. I could have just testified properly and none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What do you see in the instant the crime? Doc knocked Mr. Marshall out and stuffed the knife. Neil Marshall was right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant.
I tried, but the words couldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago,
You must have been 2 years ago. That he must have been 14. That's understandable.
once it was all over, I made up my mind that I'd grow up. When I grew up, I'd be a scientist. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an anti-case.
I see. I think it's fun. This just. You said you were in Leonard's office at that time, right?
That's right.
Then why would a serial killer come running in there? Why was he being chased by the prosecutor?
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dawkins had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened to be at the police department. He tried running away halfway through the interview. Fled into my system. Why did he know? That's because the detective officers are in the room right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, she was a detective. She was the best in the fire force.
What? That's news to me.
After the Joe Dawkins case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's made chief prosecutor.
Well then, we gotta talk with newly found out detective. Lana.
Oh, Lana!
Mr. Wright, it seems like I'm causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we?
But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty.
Believe me, I understand the risk. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh. About how you are a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office? That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be.
That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth.
It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that time, 2 years ago, I sold my soul to catch him. Well, all drama aside, yeah. The fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department.
Tell me it's not true, Emma. What the witness said, Miss Starr said. How about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife? Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us?
Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago.
She was amazing. They're still talking about the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant? You mean the Undertaker-looking guy? He was the deputy chief of police back then. But he still worked on the crime scene. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be.
They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before reports could even be filed.
I'm only who have his subjects. But now you're the chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The only reason I became a detective was to gain an experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help with an SL9 case was crucial for its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask. It's 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Doc. Second in command? That means the investigation that was... Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office? We led a team of detectives on the force. Including Gumshoe. He wasn't there then. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Doc. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Damon, Gant, and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Doc that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Doc must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall left their guards, let their guards down and fled the room. Then he ran straight to the office shared by the Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's when he found me. So you who were the first person to run into the scene. It appears so. I was filing some paperwork while Gant and Marshall were questioning Doc. When I returned to I saw 3 bottles and smelled blood. 3 bodies. Prosecutor Marshall, the victim who had passed out, and the suspect Joe Doc. During the struggle, it seems like Mr. Marshall struck a blow before he died. Joe Doc had occurred a minor concussion, laid unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her. After all, her sister must have gone through a lot. After that, I placed Doc under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You are involved. Let me get this straight. You were involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence. I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to the extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Doc. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live their lives with memories. That case might not be over yet. What? Emma was assaulted by a Doc at the police department, right? Yes, in the office of Damon, Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies it by himself, the chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the side of the SFN. I was trying to see if that was your code, girl. Okay, let's head to the Criminal Affairs Department. Hey, is the chief, your chief here? Or, buddy, who likes to say it's the cops? Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. Never thought things would turn up the way they did when I woke up this morning. Yes, sir. You never know what'll lead you. Hey, Bambina. I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy tried to dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, hey, where you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but I can't go in the evidence room. Hey, Barna. But Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prosecutors head west? If there ever was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us what exactly happened? Looks like I was getting a steak lunch today. Dark. Something was fishy about that from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean the switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Sheriff Dark's alright, but the initial autopsy report question was raised. The question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? I mean, there's a good chance the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the murder report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. The fact that case left behind scars in all of us. Scars? That the SL9 incident left behind? I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had to make that just made detective when he wanted to. It was all our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? I mean, the king of prosecutors. What do you look for the prosecutor? Place. Wasn't that the same day as? That's right. The day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall it was thunder. Can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered. The evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind. Every detective involved in that investigation save one was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted, boxed away, and they back Detective Goodman. They did something to him too. The commissioners would get suspicious, though they were careful not to be too obvious. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon, Gant, and Lana Sky. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second in command, Lana Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their cases. After that case, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant to the new chief of police arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same ever since she left. Everyone knew her. Chief Prosecutor Sky Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now that too.
Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is well guarded. Never found out. Not a secret. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly entertaining. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified information. Guilty. Since it was the one, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. Someone is Damon Gaudy. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame ya. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Give the Dick Gumshoe any steak lunches. Too bad I won't be around to walk with you when you become a real scientific investigator, Bambina. Adios, Bambina. Let's give that another... Because that corner right there... Looking for the others. They're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying that what she did and a decision about what to do, Mr. Edgeworth. Not to mention our statement to the media tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. Fuck! Thanksgiving alone is fucking crazy with all those with the shoppers. Sir, take a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building. Take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it? Okay, I mean, we're not police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. Yeah, there. It's off. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his own unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? It's a cops! It's a cops! Well, something ain't right here. It's the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. If I forget that, hey, I used to take organ dishes. Used to call me Little Miss Back. Never gonna remember where C was. Oh, it's you two. Chief God. You put that paper where he was reading on it. So, Ryder, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. Unless you mean in court cases, I've been swimming. I'm straying about a court case, so I can appreciate that. I've too had my hands full with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture over there? That was a picture of Neil and me. So that is Mr. Marshall's brother and prosecutor, Neil. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. Thank you for the copy of the... Anyway, I did like you. Okay, but they I'm gonna lock up here, so let's get... Oh, but it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long been since over. There's no need to investigate anymore. All the same, we'd like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. Get out, I said. No need for... Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Hey, you can leave us in here for a few hours. We don't mind. Looks like we aren't welcome. Seems like the case isn't over yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That must mean it'd be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way. You know what? I'm gonna go talk with a good friend of ours. Even Mr. They must be. Damon was murdered and the evidence we met very 50. Yeah, I thought they were friendly. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look more. Yeah, you can do, Lana. I've got to find the answer. You know what? I want to head to a good friend of ours. Maybe he could... Maybe he's me. Yeah, what's up? One second, I'm looking at that. Again, Edgeworth has always been... Really? That doesn't sound like my... It's always hated receiving gold. I know the path I've walked and no one else needs to tell me. That's how he's always been. Kind of gets under your skin, doesn't it? Okay. I want to see some. Yeah, it's missing out that spear thing right there. Wait a second. That suit of armor. And that vase. I was hoping Edgy could have helped us with that. Okay, so you can't help us with that. Okay, so you ain't helping us. Hey, pal, it's the guy! Somebody yell at that. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. Then I heard somebody yelling, it's the cats a few minutes ago. In here. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. I wanted a cup and I couldn't get one. It's the cops! And then they forced me to hand out everybody donuts. I wanted donuts too! Still out. So either one of you seen Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. It's a cops! Is it because of what my sister said? That's what it all boils down to. Falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, prosecutors responsible for all the evidence they presented in court. Not only that, as you know, there's been a lot of rumors around Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. Now with this...
Are there really so many people who hate him?
In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's also young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies.
Hey, Dick, keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's the cops.
Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat.
Yes, sir. It's the cops.
You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick?
Yes, sir.
It seems like you don't have any problems with the enemy.
Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. And to all this pressure, I'm afraid that Mr. Edgeworth might just might crack. Father, while it was brewing.
He seems to genuinely Well, what did you find out anything?
The only evidence Doc left behind was during his final attack.
His final attack?
You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl?
Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe, Emma, was the girl.
That's when he left the most incriminating evidence behind.
Well, what was that?
Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with a murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look at it. It's all written in here, okay?
No recollection ever fails to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon? Might jog his memory? The broken murder weapon you were speaking of?
What are you doing with that?
Ever since that case was closed, the knife's been locked away in the locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler.
That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence showed me. The knife, it all came back to me.
What is it, Mr. Again? This knife? It was Joe Dark's, wasn't it?
That's right. We traced it back to the story about it. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it too.
But no one actually witnessed him using the murder weapon to murder anybody, right?
That's when his luck ran out. When you get to take a good look at the knife, you see it was broken.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, anyway. Take a guess where the broken tip of the knife was. That's what the...
Where was it?
The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound.
Did it match Doc's knife?
You bet, down to the last fiber.
That's pretty conclusive.
Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was a run-of-the-mill businessman.
Businessman? What made him take too serious?
One day, on his way from work, he hit somebody with his car.
With his car? So it was an accident?
An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal.
An animal?
He killed a man. The kid walked by, he killed him too. Joker killed him as well. He finally turned himself in.
Seems he was a pretty careless animal.
Of course, this was all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of questioning, he fled and murdered the final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too. Luckily, Doc was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. Well, then you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? Is it money? You should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern his office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around it, if that's okay. Well, any detectives can unlock that lock. It's the cops! What, really? But if I let any civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. Don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this? It was Goodman's. That one was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, gumshoes are only cheating. If you show them that'll change it. This guy almost made us lose the case today. What are you talking about? He was got in the bloodstain and that. Well, it's more than you could say about most officers nowadays. It would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded it so well. He's right, though. Thanks to the Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility today. The possibility, another Yes, there's only one number left to investigate. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive officer number. 77777777777. That's 172 too many, Detective. An executive officer. I just might have a hunch. Case for Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, it was a pretty big deal back when I was working on it. You know, after all, the serial killer was on the loose. But Lana was pretty clear in our confession. She forged evidence in order to prove her guilty. After that child, you've seen it somewhere before. Somewhere? Or maybe it was one of those memories. We'll be right back, Detective. Can you stay put real quick? Alright, we'll be back, detective. Let's head somewhere else then. And hopefully you can get some coffee. Hey, this looks like... What are you doing here? So, it's quick, just tough day in court, huh? I've had to listen to you. Live with it, Richard. What's another allegation to me? Gee up, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. First, let me see that thing you threw on the floor. It's right here. Yeah, Edgeworth. What? Oh no, he's only gonna go. Hold on. First, let me see what the guy's doing. Going on my feet. If you're having eating it, I'll read it for you. It says that of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean. I'm tired, Wright. I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it's your fault. I know. The path I've walked, you don't need to tell. And the path I've walked hasn't been a just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done, and no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright... There's no excuse for what I've done. Two years ago, I've used falsehoods but didn't steal again. But do you know what? But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as a prosecutor is in charge. That fact remains the same, no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work, so that's why. Why is it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotional and bottled up. And we'll see you all in the next video.